Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushua, Ba'ashim, Ruach Kadash. Give double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to your elect. Now, I just got this news article here, and as you can see from the title, Brexit impact will get worse. Not, he didn't say better, but those guys say, it's gonna get better, it's gonna get better, I'm just saying it in that voice, because they just sound hysterical. It's not gonna, they're straight out telling you that it will get worse. With supermarket shops, shop to cost more, and some EU products vanishing from the shelves. So let's get into this. A leading customer expert who predicted the truck driver shortage and issues caused by the sea border in the Irish Sea believe delayed bureaucratic bureaucratic customs laws will lead to meats, fruit and vegetables from the EU being too costly to import. And hey, when there is what's that word when something is more scarce, then something is more scarce, but the demand is still the same, they can put up the price because the demand for it is staying the same. But it's just that there's less of it, so people are going to be people are going to be more intense to getting it, you know to the point I wouldn't be surprised if it turned into how they do Black Friday down here. You have people, back in the day you used to have people get into all kinds of fights and stuff like that, and I'm being deadly serious. you know truck driver shortage and issues caused by the sea border in the Irish Sea believe delayed. I already read that. uh this is being an image. This is a store, I believe this is either Waitrose or Sainsbury's. The full impact of Brexit on both businesses and consumers will not be felt until next year, with shortages set to worsen in sectors ranging from food to building materials, a leading customs expert has claimed. Let me get a scripture. Let me see if I can find a scripture on this. This whole fourth chapter is, really excellent. So I might have to start off from the ninth verse. Take thou also unto thee wheat and barley and beans and lentils and millet and fitchets, um, and put them in one vessel, and make thee bread thereof, according to the number of the days that thou shalt lie upon thy side. 390 days shalt thou eat thereof, and thy meat which thou shalt eat shall be by weight, 20 shekels a day. From time to time shalt thou eat it. Thou shalt also drink water by the measure. So this is basically saying things that would, like, the amount we would want to eat, we ain't gonna be able to eat it like that. It's gonna have to be rationed. We may have this amount of food, say this amount of food one day. So we're trying to, so we got basically saying, figuring out how long we can make this last for until we can get more food. Not saying that's obviously the election's not gonna be in that position, but I'm saying it based upon this chapter, because people are gonna be getting real desperate, man. I put them in one vessel and make thee bread thereof, according to the number of the days thou shalt lie upon thy side. 390, 390 days shalt thou eat thereof, and thy meat which thou shalt eat shall be by weight 20. I believe I already read this. So okay, hold on. Thou shalt drink water by measure. This, I'll just reread this. There, the sixth part of an hin from time to time thou shalt drink. So this is going into whatever in that day, whatever what people have, they're basically gonna try and let that serve them, because they ain't gonna know when they're gonna be able to eat. When they're gonna have more food, and when they're gonna be able to get more water, because they're gonna be very desperate in that day. Them doing that, it won't even help them, because someone else might see that they have more food since they're rationing. I just kick down their front door and just take it. And thou shalt eat it as barley cakes, and thou shalt bake it with dung that cometh out of a man in their sight. And the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat the foul bread among the Gentiles. Whether this talk about the the other nation, whether I will drive them. I should have really read the 16th verse, but it's alright still. Among the Gentiles, whether I will drive them. So like here, let me get, I can't remember what I was up to, but let me jump to 16. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, behold, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread by the weight and with care, and shall drink water by measure and with astonishment, because they ain't really gonna be having much food. They didn't take heed. They ain't take heed, and they're gonna be real desperate. So whatever they have, they're gonna try and stretch it out. But like we said, it's gonna be Jacob's trouble. So people, other people gonna be hungry. They just gonna be kicking down your door and taking what you got. Lord willing. I get that scripture after I get this one that I thought of. I believe there's a scripture in 2 Kings. It basically, the woman was basically they were thinking of eating their children. Bear with me. Okay, this is 2 King 6:25, just so you get a clear understanding. And there was a great famine in Samaria, and behold, they besieged it until an ass's head was sold for fourscore pieces of silver. I know, if I'm not mistaken, one score is 20, so fourscore would be 80. So 80. So this is 80 pieces of silver that this is sold for. And the fourth part of a cab of doves dung for 5 pieces of silver. And as the king of Israel was passing by upon the wall, there cried a woman unto him, saying, Help, help, my lord, O king. And he said, If the Lord do not help thee, when shall I help thee? So he's basically saying, look, you need to cry unto the Lord. If the Lord is not helping you, how am I, how can I help you? Because ultimately it's the Lord's will. And she answered, this woman said unto me, Give thy son that we may eat him today. And this is serious, because you gotta think about women. Women are highly emotional. Like when it comes to something happening to their children, if you let them, they'll be very protective. But she's in such a desperate state because of the famine. She's like, no, 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 no. No, no, no. I want to eat. I want to eat. Give thy son that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. So she's like saying, give me your, give me your son, and we'll be able to eat him today, and I'll eat my son tomorrow. This, Jacob's trouble is gonna be a time like never before. So everything that's gone on, in the past, to a higher level, because what the scripture says, things that were written before time were written for our learning. Um, they're going to happen again on a much greater level. So we boiled my son and did eat him. You got actually visualize. You got actually visualize. They actually boiled. Your own offspring. You actually boil and eat him. You should realize how desperate that they've gotten, because a woman's nature, that's completely against a woman's nature to even think of. It usually brings them great sorrow, but she's in a complete, she's so desperate that she's actually resorted to this. So we bought my son, I did eat him, and I said unto her, on the next day, give thy son that we may eat him. And she has hid her son, because she don't want it to happen. She don't want it, she don't want her son to be eaten, because she still got that there's still something in her that wants to try and protect her son. And it came to pass, when the king heard the words of the woman, that he rent his clothes and passed by upon the wall, and the people looked, and beheld, he had sackcloth upon his flesh. Time to get back to the article. Actually, one more. This is 2nd Ezra 15 and 19. And then I believe this was the scripture I was talking about before. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. So when you think that you're being smart, rationing food, trying to do your own, survival things, things of that nature, for those that, they don't have the Lord, it's gonna come to naught, because, you think you're the only one doing this. You think that, you ain't the only one around. There's people around that are gonna be hungry. And what do you think they're gonna do? Because imagine you're a woman who's in the house all by herself, and 5 dudes, 5 hungry dudes are kicking down your front door ready to take all your food. So imagine they see you on your own. Imagine, a demonic thought jumps into their heads, and they're like, okay, you're basically in a helpless position, and they think that, since it's Jacob's trouble, they can do what they want with you. But shall destroy their houses with the sword, and shall spoil their goods, because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. So that the scripture say Jacob's trouble is like a time, never before. The full impact of Brexit on both businesses and consumers will not be felt until next year, with shortages set to worsen in sectors ranging from food to building materials. A leading customs expert has claimed. Simon Sutcliffe, a partner at tax and advisory firm Blake Rothenberg, believes the government's delays in implementing post-Brexit custom laws have softened the impact of the UK's exit from the European Union. Well, this ain't the case, because we're already seeing how much of a mess that the dominoes have really fallen down to, and they're openly admitting it, and that things will get worse when they are finally brought in from January 2020, despite leaving the EU on January the 1st, 2020, or January 2022. Because people think these things have to happen right then and there. Look, you're feeling the effects 2 years later. Just because it doesn't happen right away. Wait for it, man. Don't take it out for it. Don't take it out for it just because it didn't happen right away. The government has delayed many of the custom laws that were due to come into force last year. The requirement for pre-notification of the arrival in the UK of agri-food imports will be introduced on the 1st of January 2022, as opposed to the already delayed date of October 1st this year. The new requirements for the export health certificates will now be introduced even later, on July the 1st next year. Controls to protect animals and plants from diseases, pests, or contaminants will also be delayed until July, the 1st of July 2022, as will the requirements for safety and security on imports. When these laws, which also include the custom declaration systems, are brought in, Mr. Sutcliffe believes the new food and raw materials shortage, already experienced to some extent, especially in Northern Ireland, will worsen, with some products disappearing from supermarket shelves for the foreseeable future. And they're letting you know, listen, you're having shortages everywhere. You're really blinded if you can't see what's going on, and you still are in this serious delusion. I believe I'm saying it right if I call it delusion of grandeur. If you really think things are, gonna get, things are all gonna be daffodils and daisies all over again, which they never were, but in certain people's mind it was. Mr. Sutcliffe was among the first to predict the truck driver shortage and border issues in Northern Ireland. Once these extra extensions come to an end, we're going to be in a whole world of pain. For until importers get to grips with it, just like the exporters from the UK to the EU have had to already. I was warning, because brothers in the truth already knew about this. I was warning people in the world, way before this happened. You know, I have family. I'm told family as well that I told them that this was gonna happen. It didn't happen right away. Where the people thought thought I lost it, but we're seeing it happen. The words are not coming back void. The cost of bureaucracy involved will mean many retailers will simply not stock some products from the EU any longer. If you know your fruit delivery is stuck in a UK port for 10 days waiting to be checked, then you're not going to bother importing it, as it'll go off even before it even reaches the store. And this is true because you have perishables that will rot in the back of trucks because the lines are long and they have to wait for so long. So when they reach to the store, they just got mold on it. And if you work in any warehouses or anything like that, that when stuff like that happens, they just put them in they'll just put them in a waste pile in a room somewhere. We're looking into all kinds of product disappearing from supermarkets, from Salamani. I think I know it's that pepperoni thing, but salami. I haven't even called that word in years. To cheeses, because they will just be too expensive to ship in. While a few boutique, may stock these products, they will become more expensive and be harder to find. He added that the supermarket shop will also face steep prices, as the cost of importing even basic products such as fresh meat, milk, eggs, and vegetables will cost retailers more. So even the most basic, so even the things that the average person thinks is basic and necessity, you'll be kind of struggling to get that as well. The retailers will not have much of a choice but to pass on some of the increased costs to the consumers, said Mr. Sutcliffe. In other words, consumers will have less choice and will have to pay for more for their weekly shopping. A spokesman for Number 10 said, "We want businesses to focus on their recovery from the pandemic rather than having to deal with the new requirement at the border, which is why we've set out a new pragmatic new timetable, introducing full border timetables. That seems to be the end. But full border controls, businesses will now have more time to prepare for these controls, which will be phased in through 2021. So this 2021, we hastening the day, hastening the year. 2020 slack 2022, because 2021's been a year of prophecy. But I want to close it out there. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashim, Yahushua, Bashim, Chakadash. Until next time, Shalom.